academic advising is probably one of the most powerful levers we have in addressing numerous issues, from credit productivity issues, which is another way of framing SAP, satisfactory academic progress. So there's all this credit wastage in large public systems where students are taking the wrong classes at the wrong time. And when you're on a financial aid clock, this can be disastrous, particularly for low-income and first-gen students. But and academic advising can also be a key driver in how we work on the interpersonal piece, right? When you have 40,000 students at a school, the academic advisor might be one of the only adults a student can actually just go see and have a conversation with when they're thinking about dropping out. But when you think about the way we've organized academic advising in most places, and I'm not familiar with Rutgers' academic advising strategy, academic advising still represents a previous era of higher education, where the assumption was that every student was coming from a much different place of privilege and preparation. And so, when you look at, if you go to an EAB meeting in DC, or you go to APLU, you go to ACE, where university presidents meet, we're talking over and over again about the need to move to intrusive or proactive academic advising, where we're not waiting for students to come see the academic advisors. We're not waiting for students to take what we know is a disastrous mix of classes on the front end, but we're actually setting up, we're in the digital age, right? Why aren't we leveraging technology that allows us to manage the way students interact with the university in ways that prohibit bad choice making? Right? You can do this very easily, that if students fill their course card with a set of courses and we have the analytical capacities and the data science capacities to say that mix of courses has an 87% probability of failure. You shouldn't do that. Why isn't that kind of informatic popping up and empowering the student to make smarter choices about course selection semester after semester? And so part of this is, when you enter an academic advising space, we always talk about advisor to student ratios, right? And this is a crushing piece of the economics of higher education. In many large state systems, we're at 700 to 1. And so then you say intrusive advising, and academic advisors are going, I can't do intrusive advising because I got 700 students in my caseload. When I was working in California prior to coming to Cornell, we had an 1100 to 1 academic advisor to student ratio at an access institution, right? Where the average student, we had 50% first-gen students, 50% Pell students, right? So there's tremendous need at this institution, and an 1100 to 1 academic advisor to student ratio. And we were able to use academic advising to drive a dramatic shift in graduation rates by changing the technological platforms that advisors were using so that their labor was precise and that students actually were getting the benefits of academic advising without necessarily having to be in front of a human being. And so there's a lot of hope in this, in the moment of time we're in. And I think that universities have to really start to build out their data science capacity and really think about the way we empower humans with much more sophisticated tools so that we change the workflow so that we're not sitting there doing hundreds of course selection meetings, but rather using predictive tools to actually work with highest needs students in holistic and intrusive ways. And I could go on and on about this, but I think that for those of you who are in these kinds of spaces, this is the direction you want to take the discourse. And if you're still using a passive academic advising model, it's time for you to throw up the red flag and start alerting your institution to the fact that that model underserves our highest needs students.